What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here with a brand new series to bring to you today. I'm not sure if you saw, but on social media this week, we put out a message saying for people to send us in their unpopular Spurs opinions, and we literally were so overloaded with these unpopular opinions. It was insane.
There's a lot.
Twitter is full of them, Instagram's full of them, Facebook's full of them. We're going to concentrate on the Twitter ones today. We might make a couple of episodes out of it, but let's see how we go.
Twitter edition.
Yeah, this is the Twitter edition. Obviously, I got Sim and John with me again. How you guys doing?
I'm good, man.
It's good to be back in the studio.
It is good to be back. Yeah,
it's been a while.
I know we have to keep our distance from each other, but at least we're back.
Exactly, we're back and we're ready to go, rock and roll.
All right, shall we get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm ready. I'm getting ready for this. There's going to be a lot of unpopular opinions. Plenty of unpopular opinions around Spurs.
All right, so let's get it kicked off. And the first one is from Spurs 20111.
2011.
How did he come up with that?
And the tweet is, at the time Poch got sacked, it was obvious, with all due respect to Poch, that most fans he couldn't get the team back on track anymore. And now, for fans begging for his return is a bit hypocritical.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually agree with that. I think that's right. Yeah, it's a typical mentality. It's like whatever you don't have that you need. You know, when a player gets
grass
injured,
is always greener.
Well, yeah, when like a player gets injured, suddenly it's like, oh, we really miss him, you know, and then he comes back and then Sissoko's like, oh, we really miss Sissoko. It's just like
so true.
It's that psychological thing. Whatever you don't have, you want it back. The grass is greener on the other side. I think he's bang on. Oh, that's not unpopular. That is.
All the fans are fickle, aren't they? Let's be honest. I think we've seen that in the whole Pochettino.
Fickle is a really good word.
So do we agree with this one?
I actually agree with that. I think
a lot of the fans were calling for his head at the time, and all of a sudden there's a bit of revisionist history. Look, I'm not one to say maybe we could do well Pochettino now still with a rebuild, but I think it's a bit hypocritical for fans to be claiming to want him back now when they were so desperate for him. A lot of them were desperate for him to get
Did you
sacked.
guys want him? What was your feeling when he left?
We were shocked when he... I mean, we could see it coming, but... We didn't. Both of us, I think, we can agree that we didn't want him to leave.
No,
at the time.
we didn't.
I didn't want him to leave. I think even if he would have finished like mid-table that season with Poch, I still think that he should have stayed and then somehow worked it in to maybe change his coaching staff or just refresh things a little bit. I think he deserved that.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
I saw Poch as a long-term manager.
I agree. Let's move on. Next one is from Harry Bullock, number 9. And this is a big one. Son is overrated.
Overrated? How are you going to do Son like that? What do you mean Son is overrated? Maybe in Korea. I think he's rated fine here, mate.
Yeah,
I don't know. Well, it depends. How do you rate him? Would you say Son's world class? Would you use that way he's rated at the moment?
World class is a bit of a funny word, right? Because it has a... there's a lot of... It's not, you know, Messi and Ronaldo, world class, but then do you also put in like a Son into that group with them? You wouldn't, but he is still, if it's like a big scope, you know, of what world class means, then, you know, potentially.
One thing I would say about Son is sometimes he has his droughts can go on a bit too long. Sometimes, sometimes he can go a few too many games for my liking without scoring. But other than that, I think he's pretty consistent. And not only is he consistent, I think he steps up when he needs to, when we need him most. When Kane's injured, he always seems to step up to the plate.
I felt that this season especially, you know, I think Son was going through games not playing well, but actually coming up with the goods. A bit similar to maybe Dele Alli at times, where he goes anonymous the whole game, but he pops up with that goal or assist. I think to the back end of the season, before he got injured, I think he was doing that, Sonny. I think he wasn't playing that well, but he came up with the goods with us pretty much every game.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that. I mean, I think if anything, Kane's overrated, because that's my unpopular opinion. If you're going to compare the two, I don't think Son isn't held in that same regard, and also we didn't buy him to be this like great goal scorer. Do you know what I mean? That's wasn't what he came here for. I think he's excelled and overachieved from where he was 3 seasons ago, I should say, when Poch actually had him sidelined. If you remember, I was desperate for him to get in the team. Come on, get back in the team yet. Poch kept keeping on the periphery. I was actually quite frustrated by that, and I think since then he's actually come on leaps and bounds.
Saying that, I would like him to score a few more goals. Like he gets at the moment, it's like 12, 13, 14. I'd like to see 15, 16, 17, 18 in the league.
Well, I think he's growing every year. So
yeah, true.
I think Son's underrated.
I think underrated. I think in many ways he is almost underrated. You know,
Still.
Let's move on. Next one is from Cashmore Matty. 17-18 was one of our best seasons.
Well, we finished third, didn't we? And we got to the Champions League round of 16.
Yeah.
Was
that our first year at Wembley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dumped out the FA Cup in the semi-finals.
How many points was that? 81?
No, we got like 77.
77.
Yeah, I don't think that's a...
Well, I think you got to say it's like our third ever best
That's
season
true,
in the
that's
Premier
true.
League, so
That's
it's one
true.
of our
We'll
best
die
seasons.
for that now.
That's true.
It's true.
I mean, if that season we were at White Hart Lane, do you think it would have been more than the season before, or not?
I mean, Wembley wasn't too much of a problem that year, I don't think. I think we lost to Chelsea in the first game, but apart from that, we had good results at Wembley, didn't we, that season?
We started growing. I think we had a rocky start, but I think we grew into the season. I think we only ended up losing 2 games,
I think
maybe.
the first few games we had a few dodgy results, right?
Like a couple draws and a loss to Chelsea.
Yeah.
And then from then on, I think we kind of grew into that season. I don't think Wembley was too much of a problem. Do you guys?
No, I don't think it was.
But that's because we'd just come off the back of like maybe the best we've ever been, 86 points.
Yeah.
So we were lucky in that regard.
We didn't replace
through.
Walker, did we, that season? So that cost us
that's
big,
it.
and there were no Wanyama. It was always going to, and we didn't.
Checking. That summer they said Trippier's better than Walker anyway.
Yeah, everyone was saying
No, in a
Trippier's
lot of
better than
Spurs
Walker.
groups, they were doing polls, and it was like Trippier and Walker were pretty much even, maybe even Trippier getting the edge. So that's how, in the Spurs groups that I was in, they did a poll, and I was just like, I cannot believe
I never
people
bought
are
into
saying
that.
this.
No.
I think people were just trying to kind of save themselves, kind of thing, for the new barrier. Everyone knew Walker was better than Trippier.
I don't think everyone did. No, I think a lot of people
Everyone
thought Trippier was
they were
better,
lying
a
to
lot.
themselves.
Yeah,
They were lying. Well,
100%.
yeah,
They were lying to
deluded.
themselves.
We got, and then we should have beaten Juventus, shouldn't we, in the Champions League? We lost to the semi-final of the FA Cup to United, which we should have probably won that game as well.
And
Yeah.
Chelsea should have won against Chelsea this season before.
Yeah, but I'm saying that he's saying that season was one of our best. But I guess it's probably top 4 at least. So I guess you got to say it's correct.
Well, it's the second best.
Kane got 30 goals as well that season.
Yeah.
So
He got a golden boot. Second time.
he didn't get the golden
No?
boot.
Who
Salah
got it? Oh, Salah got it.
But that's not that unpopular opinion because it's the second best.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of
Third
fact,
best.
isn't
It
it?
is technically second best, factually.
All right, next one from M Kavanagh 791, and this is one I actually agree with. The poor home atmosphere isn't from the new stadium at Wembley, but was evident at White Hart Lane. Plenty of games that weren't derbies or European nights was nothing special. And I completely agree with that. I was saying that for the past 5 years at White Hart Lane. People go on about how amazing the atmosphere it was at White Hart Lane, and you don't get the same at the new Spurs Stadium at Wembley. Yeah, Wembley was shocking. We've had a few games at the new Spurs Stadium, which has been electric. But I think on a whole, it's a bit similar to White Hart Lane. I think, again, against the Arsenals and European nights, there were big, great atmospheres. But I think your average game at White Hart Lane, I don't think it was good atmosphere. I think you have to go back to the Martin Yole days where it was good atmosphere week in, week out. I started noticing it under Harry Redknapp declining.
Yeah, I kind of see your point. I think the atmosphere was a bit better than it used to be, but I think I don't think it's a Spurs problem. I think it's a Premier League problem.
Agreed.
I think the normal fan is being priced out of the game. The younger fans who create the atmosphere, they can't afford to go all the time now, and it's harder to create an atmosphere when it's just like the prawn sandwich brigade sitting in the middle of the 1882 stand, and we're not week in, week out. We're not able to create the atmosphere that we used to. I think it's across the Premier League. We go week in, week out to Premier League grounds. The amount of times the atmosphere is great is not that often anymore. It's only when you go to Huddersfield or something like that.
That's what I was about to say. Like, do you remember when we went to Huddersfield that year? Like, they were insane, the fans.
Yeah.
Just singing from
losing.
literally. We beat them 3 or 4-0 that day.
Yeah, and they were up non-stop the whole
Absolute class,
game. And I think the Premier League really has a problem of how to get those atmospheres consistent, because I think at the moment a lot of Premier League grounds are dead on a week-to-week basis.
I actually think they should bring back safe standing. Like
well, they're talking
stands,
about.
I actually think they should now be really considering that, because they've got the technology, they've got the infrastructure to be able to build something like that and make sure no one gets injured now. So
The thing is, if they bring back safe standing, they got to reduce the ticket prices as well, because otherwise they'll bring back safe standing. People, what it's like now at Spurs, people wanted to be in the South Stand because they wanted to be in and amongst the atmosphere.
Yeah.
But these guys, they need to be creating the atmosphere, not just being there to be in and amongst the atmosphere. You need to go there to create atmosphere. If you go there just to be in and amongst it, there's not going to be any atmosphere.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
That's what it is at the moment. So if there is safe standing, it's going to be the same as that unless you decrease ticket prices.
And let's be honest, Levy is going to be
He ain't
unlikely
gonna
to
do
be doing that.
soon.
I mean, I would pay to be in the stand, stood up and being in more atmosphere. If it was known as being this is the atmosphere, the best atmosphere of the ground, I would want to be in that.
Yeah.
I don't mind if I don't sit down, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But you know.
But you got to be willing to contribute to that atmosphere.
Absolutely. Well, that's another story, and how we build. Maybe we can do a video about how we can get the atmosphere up a little bit. You know,
It's just annoying because everything in the stadium's set for having an amazing atmosphere, the acoustics
and no one's
everything.
starting. Everyone's
And it's
waiting for
just-
everyone else to take that first step. You know.
All right, here's one from Pezza Spurs. This is one for you, John.
Oh.
Levy has done a good job.
Ooh.
No, do you know what? I split it into two different camps, right? Two different parts. From a business side, he's a 10 or a 9 out of 10. 10 out of 10, business side. From a purely footballing side, I think he's a 1 out of 10, okay? Or a 2 out of 10, okay? I'll give him a 2 just to give him that. But there's two different sides here. And from a business side, we're looking like the best team, the best footballing business in the Premiership, right? Very secure. Look like we're taking off constant new deals. Like looks like we're going to have a deal with Amazon. If we get Jeff Bezos, involved, he will flatten the competition. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I can see from business side, he is a genius, Levy, absolute genius from that side. Great. From the footballing side, he's not great. We've been it's been 21. How many years now since
he took over in 2001?
2001.
We've won one trophy.
So we've won one League Cup in that time. So you tell me, like a Manchester United, a Liverpool, an Arsenal, a Chelsea, would they accept one League Cup trophy in all that time?
We weren't one of those teams. That's the thing. When he took over. And you got to say, from a footballing point of view...
That's what I'm saying. From a footballing point of view, it's not good enough, is it?
Yeah, it's not good enough, but you can't say he has improved us.
No, he's improved us, but that's because of from the brand, he's building the brand up. And that has a trickle effect on the footballing side. But the actual direct input into the footballing side of the club is not good enough. He should have invested that season 2 transfer windows without putting any money in. That's not good enough. That's really not good enough. If he wants to keep us at... Now we're noticing the effects of it. We didn't really notice it at the time because we thought we got a good team. It's a residual knockback effect over you notice it a couple of seasons later. Those investments that weren't done back then, we're now feeling the effects of it now. When you look at our team now, we feel, wow, it looks really depleted. But at the time you're thinking, no, we've got a good team. But you've got to remember, they all get older, they all start getting injured, a lot of them get offloaded. Suddenly you're like... Where are we now? You know what I mean? I think that was Levy's mistake, and I don't think he doesn't invest enough and really have the ambition from the investment side of it. In the players.
I don't think he's perfect, Levy, but I just think from where we were when he took over, mid-table, never finished above 7th. I don't think in the Premier League era. I thought we never finished above 7th or below low 14th. And we're perennial mid-table strugglers, and we're now a team which is considered one of the best in Europe, I think, as a club.
But the argument is we still haven't won a trophy. We've won one League Cup.
Correct. I'm saying he's not perfect, but I'd say he's a 1 out of 10 from a footballing side. I think we're competing now. Exactly. I think we compete now for consistently at the top end of the Premier League, I would say, and I think we're developed into a brand where a very attractive proposition for players to come. A big stadium. I know that's part of the business side, but I think from a footballing standpoint, from the part I think since 2005, we've been in Europe every fifth or sixth at least every single year, apart from maybe one or two years.
But
that's 15 years. That's 15 years of consistently challenging in the top end of the Premier League.
Finishing in the top 4 is part of his remit. It's part of his
yes, but
his
you need
demands
to.
from
That
the top.
shows the improvement on the football side, is it not?
Levy is someone that would be happy with a manager that got us 4th every year, even if we didn't win a trophy for the next 50 years, however long he's there, right? He would be happy with that. Now, from my point of view, I'm not happy with that. I want to see us winning trophies. And I think
but that's not really the point here. You're not happy with us not winning trophies. No one's happy with us not winning trophies. But the point is, the comment is Levy has done a good job. When you got to look at it, is that when Levy, like my brother said, when Levy came in, we were nowhere. We were nowhere near European football. We were nowhere near winning any trophies, and we were nowhere near being a side that we can be proud of. That's the honest truth of it.
But ironically, we were winning more trophies. But ironically, we were actually winning more trophies.
One more League Cups, but
yeah. But what would you prefer? Would you prefer to be like Spurs in the 90s, or would you prefer to be like Spurs now?
Neither.
In the last 5 years?
I would actually. Like
but if I gave you 1 or 2.
Well, I would like us to win the trophies from the 90s and have the the more.
We won
Even in the
two
'90s,
trophies in
we
the
only
90s.
won. We
More
only
consistent
won. We only won one FA Cup and one League Cup in the '90s.
What he's done, he's built the business up, but there is a reluctance to really push us up to the next level.
Yeah,
And
Agreed.
there's a ceiling there, and he's unwilling to break through that ceiling. Like for instance, all it took was when we finished third to Leicester that season. All it took, I think, if he'd have just bought a Kante, I know he went to Chelsea, but if we'd have got him, we would have pissed the league that season. You know, why not put a bid in for him? If we'd have got Mane, all he needed to do was spend the extra little bit of money to get Mane. He came to the training ground. He just wouldn't pay the extra pennies for the salary, whatever it was in comparison. You know, if he'd have just bought Aubameyang, that would have mean Kane wouldn't have got injured every season for 3 months. They could have sort of played him more for the cup game, led him in a little bit more.
I don't disagree with any of that. I'm just
he
saying
was unwilling to do that.
Objectively, from the footballing standpoint, where the club were from a footballing standpoint when we took over to where we are from a footballing standpoint now, it's night and day.
All right, so here, okay,
night and
no,
day.
it is. But I always ask this question: how many more years would you put up with Levy without winning a trophy?
It depends. It depends if I'm enjoying my football.
Okay, so that's fine.
no,
So
no.
if you, so I'm just saying, how many more? So 20, 30. I mean, I just
It
want
depends.
a number. I want a number.
No, it's not about that. It's like,
No, it is.
No, the question was, well, the statement was, Levy has done a good job. Levy, yes, he has done a good job, but the next question is, can he take us to that next level?
Correct.
And I think the answer is no. But
That's what I think.
You
So-
can't deny
okay,
he's
so-
done
but
a
you
good
cannot
job.
deny that he's done a good job.
Okay, has he done a good job? Yes. Has he done a great job? No. You know, it's that. So it's a good job, but not a great job because
Off
it's
the
not taken
pitch,
into the
a great job. Of course, he's done a great job off the pitch. On the pitch, he also, I think, he's done a great job because you've got to look at where we were before he took over. You've got to look at that because from where we were as a club before he took over to where we are now, completely
so
different kettle of fish.
okay, so we were
now you take you took Champions League for granted. Oh,
We
top
were-
four.
we were
you know.
dying
we
for
were
Champions
dying,
we were
literally
awful,
praying.
We were awful before and good now. So that's obviously a huge difference, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm not always going to compare everything to the 90s because it's almost like then no one can do any harm.
Yeah, but that's
You know what
where
I mean?
he took over from. That's the club he took over from. He took over from 90s Spurs.
We were 20 years in a mess.
He's built
when
the
he took
business
over.
from a business side, unbelievable. I think the best in the world, absolute crown jewel. You know, from a footballing side, very very limited. What I think a 1 out of 10. You know, so when you
No,
put that
no,
together,
come on.
that is a 5 out of 10.
You
I
can't
think.
say it was a 1 out of 10
Uh,
from a footballing standpoint.
and
I
I-
don't
and I-
think you can say that.
And I think if you're rolling let's say he's a three out on a die. He's a 3 or a 4 on a die. You know, it's whether we stick with that or we twist. You know what I mean? And I think unless we get another chairman in who can, we don't like the Newcastle chairman. You know what I mean? Or the old one.
But how can you say it's a 1 out of 10 if he's improved us on the pitch?
Because.
Is it solely down to trophies and
He's
nothing else?
He's the first chairman to not invest anything into the transfer window in the whole season. Why?
Yeah.
You know?
No, I completely agree with that. But
that's what I'm talking about.
But
with
that's
Levy.
not.
John,
That's not
look
the
at
defining.
bigger picture.
He's a
Look
penny
at the bigger
pincher.
picture.
He's a penny pincher. We all know this. you
Yeah,
know? It's
yeah,
not-
I
and
don't
it's not-
disagree.
and it's
I
not good
don't
enough.
disagree.
You know, we've come so close to winning the league, and all it took was just a little
don't
push
disagree.
more.
Everyone agrees that he
so
doesn't have the
frustrating.
balls to kind of take us to that next step. You
Yeah.
know, we've always been on the periphery.
That's why it's
He doesn't
good.
knock
under
the
Harry
ball out.
Redknapp,
Yeah,
under
that's
Martin
why-
Yo, under
He doesn't push the ball
Pochettino.
And that's why he's good and not great. So
Under
I can agree
Villas-Boas.
with him.
But
That's
1
why it's
out
good
of
and
10,
not-
I don't agree with
No,
that.
from the footballing
I don't
side,
agree
from-
with that. I don't agree with that. I
Okay,
simply
well-
don't.
That's my opinion.
I don't know how you can say that when
They're asking
objectively
me.
we've now been in Europe for 15 consecutive years, now 5 years at the highest level of Europe, and we hadn't been in Europe for 15 years before he took over. I don't know how you can
Because when you
disagree.
combine the business side with the footballing side, you get an average score. That's why it's good.
Yeah, but how can you say it's a 1 out of 10 to do that to
Because
a club? I don't understand.
he invests to the level of a Sheffield United, you know, with us.
But I'm saying, from what I'm talking about the footballing standpoint, I don't know, we're talking like...
Well, look,
how
this
do you
is-
understand what I'm saying?
This is going to
This
keep.
could be our debate show again. But,
This is going to keep going round in
All right,
circles,
next
but
video,
at the
be
end of the day,
Yeah.
we are
Yeah.
just supposed to be responding to these
to
things.
these go.
And it is, has Levy done a
Yeah.
good job?
And I
Yes,
do believe he
has.
asked me, guys. And I think it's a good job. That's it. So yeah, but no more than that.
All right, fair enough.
All right, and we're going to end off on this one. Levy is the greatest champion.
No, That's what we're going to end on. That's what we're going to end
Fuck's
on.
sake.
That's what it says. From Atom Heart 1972, Levy is the greatest chairman our club has ever had. He is the first chairman to deliver Champions League final to the club.
Well, look, as from a business side, yes, he is, and I think he's spectacular from a business side. I think
he was our chairman under Bill Nick.
Really, but
not sure.
He is limited, and he does frustrate the hell out of us, and most of the fan base.
Name me a Spurs chairman that was better than Daniel Levy.
I couldn't stand Alan Sugar, and I didn't like the argument that he saved us. Oh, come on,
Irving Scholar.
I didn't like that because if Alan Sugar didn't come in, someone else would have come in. You know what I mean? And he really took the pride out of the club, Alan Sugar, in my opinion. And those 90s days were absolutely. I mean, the pride was gone. You know what I mean? It's almost like we're still trying to get that pride back from the 80s.
So you agree with him?
What?
Daniel Levy's our best ever chairman.
I can't remember before Alan Sugar. I was too. I wasn't old enough.
Before Alan Sugar was Irving Scholar.
I don't really remember.
And he nearly took the club under.
But I remember Birkinshaw saying there once used to be a football club here.
Yeah.
So I think maybe the rot started setting in sort of mid to late 80s, perhaps. Under Birkinshaw.
I think the answer is he might well be.
But I think
he might well be.
He loves Levy, this boy.
He might well be. He might well be. And I think all of us can't remember the chairmans before like Irving Scholar.
Yeah.
So it's a bit hard.
But let us know in the comments: is Levy the greatest chairman this club has ever had?
Let us know who the chairman was under Bill Nick.
Is Levy having a pay cut during the coronavirus, or just does he want all his staff to? I'd like to know that as well.
Look, at the end of the day, we all have bones to pick with Daniel Levy because he doesn't push us onto that next level when we desperately need it every time. But I don't think there's any getting away from the fact that he's done a good job at Tottenham.
And also, I don't think it's Levy. I think it's Joe Lewis is the main problem because
Joe Lewis is the billionaire that doesn't put a penny into the club.
With any enterprise, you've always got to go to the roots, to the top man. In the hierarchy, he's the one that's like, if he wanted to, he could make us probably the best club in the world if he invested in us like a Man City or something. You know what I mean? But he doesn't want to. So Levy is just the foot soldier for Joe Lewis. So I understand that as well. But he has a certain amount of wiggle room, Levy, and he's the most paid chairman in the league.
Yeah.
Right. So how does that marry up with being a great manager?
Mourinho's the highest paid manager in the league as well.
Right, so you just got to weigh all that up as well, and then decide whether or not that's equal merit to what being produced on the pitch over the last few years. So,
do you think Levy cares about what happens on the pitch?
I think
to a certain extent.
I think as long as he's getting fourth, I think he's all right with that.
As long as he keeps getting the money, I don't really care.
If that's the case, then.
I think it's true. Yeah,
you agree with me on that one.
I think as long as he's getting the money, I don't really cares. But it just happens to correspond. The better we do, the more one he gets. So
but
no, is that not right?
No, of course that's right.
So
that's it.
There was actually a conspiracy theory, right? And I kind of almost tipped my hat to it a little bit, but there was almost this guy wrote this and he said, I actually think that Levy doesn't want us to progress very far in the Champions League, because that almost sets a benchmark for him to then have to replicate. And at the moment, at the time I went, oh no, that's bollocks. Of course he does. But then you start to think, well, if you've got that, and then over the next few seasons we're not coming anywhere close, people are going to hark back to that. And I thought,
to be there's never more money than consistently challenging at the top. That's where the money is.
I get that, but like Ben was saying, I don't think, or both of you were kind of hinting at, I don't think that he's spectacularly emotionally invested in the fact that if we, do better than fourth, let's say. I think that he's quite content with that. He's ticking all the boxes with doing that, which is a little bit of a frustration because we obviously want him to go to that next level. Yeah,
but you do say that. But I think since last summer, we spent a lot of money last summer. Ndombele, Lo Celso, Sessegnon. As well, we've got the highest paid manager in the league. He didn't have to bring in Jose Mourinho. He could have brought in another manager cheaper manager that could have got us top four. So I think he's trying. I just don't think that his footballing IQ is sometimes completely there.
But why couldn't he have given that money to Pochs to be able to refresh the team?
I don't know.
I would have loved to have seen Poch being given like a war chest.
Well, that money was given to Poch, but he wasn't given the time to kind of bed these players in.
Yeah.
I mean, that Pochettino thing's another video for us to discuss.
Yeah.
Good
All
question.
Right, well,
good opinions.
Let's round up that episode now. We'll be back with another Twitter episode very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment.
Part two.
Exactly. Check out part 2 coming out very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment below. And as always, come on, you Spurs.